When Apple first introduced the iPhone, most people thought the touchscreen and the innovation is why it would dominate the market. But if that was true, Apple would have lost its advantage the moment every other competitor came up with touchscreens. It didn't. For Apple, the perceived reason was never the actual reason. Beyond the tech, it's the ecosystem, the philosophy, the identity people connected with. And these things are far more difficult to replicate than a piece of technology. But we are not talking about Apple today. We are talking about one of the most spoken projects in Dubai real estate today, Raw District by Imtiaz Development. Just like many people misunderstood why Apple became valuable in the beginning, I believe Raw District is also being misunderstood by a lot of investors and a lot of agents out there as to why it is gaining so much of attention. Everyone is talking about the metro connectivity, the Sheikh Zayed Road address, the Dubai South location. Those are valid reasons, but they are not the core reasons why this project stands out. Everyone is talking about the visible reasons, just like the Apple's touchscreen, while completely missing what may become Raw District's biggest competitive advantage over time. With Raw District, Imtiaz is not just building another Grade A apartment in the Dubai South right next to a metro station. It's much deeper than that, and let's understand what it is throughout this video. To understand Raw District, we first need to understand what problem it's trying to solve. For a long time, work was perceived as something completely different from life. It was very simple. You wake up in the morning, go to office, work for 8 or 9 hours, come back home. That's what it was. Work and life were two completely different things. But today, particularly post-COVID, there is a growing population of individuals and people for whom that line of difference between work and life is almost disappearing and converging together. For example, a founder or an entrepreneur or a creator today might take a Zoom call in the morning, meet a client in the afternoon, edit content in the evening, and answer messages before going to sleep. Work is no longer tied to a single location. We are seeing the rise of a completely new type of professional. 10 years ago, very few people earned a living through YouTube, content creation, podcasting, online businesses, coaching, freelancing, or digital services. But today, that population is rapidly growing. And these people don't necessarily need large corporate offices to sit and work. They need flexibility. They need places to collaborate with people, meet like-minded professionals in their respective industries, create content, host meetings, collaborate, and work from wherever inspiration strikes. While remote work was perceived as the solution for this growing population's requirements, it has created another new problem: isolation. Particularly in places like Dubai, there's so many digital nomads and entrepreneurs, creators, renting out Airbnb spaces and working. While many of these professionals enjoy the freedom of flexibility, they also tend to miss something on the other side: the need to connect with like-minded individuals in their respective same profession. Just think about it. Say there is someone, for example, a creator in a specific domain living in Dubai Marina, renting out an Airbnb close to the beach and close to the whole nightlife. You're not necessarily going to be hanging out with people in your exact same domain because you cannot control who's going to stay in the next door, right? Yes, you're gonna go out, hang out with friends, hang out with people. You're gonna make friends and all, but there's very little that you're gonna benefit out of in terms of your profession. Now, that is something concepts like Raw District is going to solve. This is more important in Dubai, in a city like Dubai, because unlike, say, for example, London, because there are similar concepts in other cities like London, UK, US, we will briefly go through those concepts as well before understanding raw district in detail. Particularly when you look at Dubai, it's made of 90+% of expats. So when you come to Dubai, you don't have anyone, any relatives. You are alone, you are on your own, right? So you have that special longing to belong to a certain community. The best case scenario would be if you could connect with people in your same line of work. That's the best case scenario. Well, raw district again is going to solve that exact challenge that creators, entrepreneurs, freelancers, and these type of professionals face. Well, now let's understand a few global examples before getting into the details of raw district, because this concept is not entirely new. It has been there for some time, and it's a very successful business model, and it has seen tremendous success over the past few years, particularly post-COVID. Take Soho House, for example. Soho House, if you look at their description in their homepage, is a home for the world's creatives to come together and belong. That's their motto, and that's what they do. So they have workspaces. You can rent an apartment in any of their Soho House branches. Every Soho House goes according to a theme. There is art and culture there, and people, creators, prefer working in such a location because they get to meet like-minded creators in that place, right? So the idea is simple. If you are a creator, you can book a workspace, or you can book an apartment. You can stay there for a few days, a month or two, a few weeks, just like Airbnb. But the people that you are going to meet there are more or less going to be in a similar domain with similar mindset, right? Another example is NeauHouse. Slightly different concept, but the idea is same. For example, if you look at the amenities, you'll understand you have meeting rooms, you have broadcast studio, you can do events, private event spaces, you have cafes, you have restaurants and bar, you have like entertainment, happy hour and cocktail programs, so on and so forth. So that's the big idea, or rather that's the core, that's the soul of raw district that Imtiaz is trying to create. Most of the agents are not even talking about this aspect. Now let me walk you through the brochure of raw district, and we are going to understand what raw district truly is all about. Okay, so this is the brochure. Raw district, main thing is the address. They have boldly presented the address on the homepage because that is a key thing. We'll understand the location after understanding the brochure. So just if you look at, we are not just a residence, we are an urban lifestyle philosophy. They are very clear and bold about that, right? It's not another residential project. Look at this, our spaces are honest. We are not in the amenity business, we are in the transformation business. So this is not just another project with a lot of amenities, right? Same attitude, different city. The idea is, this is just the beginning. This is the first raw that they are introducing. There is going to be more. Probably they might come up with a few more in Dubai, and they are definitely going to come up with a few more in other cities. At the end, they have given a hint as to what this means on the last page. Let's understand that. Just try to feel this lobby area, this workspace, how differently it's designed. This is definitely not designed for the regular resident in Dubai. And they are reiterating the fact that this is just the beginning, and this is the beginning of a big concept. Like the first raw will set the standards in Downtown Jebel Ali, creating a cultural center of gravity that others will follow, right? So that's something very important. So you get to invest at the beginning of something great, and definitely Imtiaz is a developer that has proven over and over again with all their previous projects that they are capable of doing something like this, right? The quality, the attention to detail that they have been able to consistently show in all their projects, they are very well capable of doing something like this. So this is the beginning of something very big, and this is their very first draw. So that's what they are trying to convey in this Other thing is the location. Okay, so let's understand the location also. This is already mentioned here. This is also very important. The reason why they chose downtown Jebel Ali, because if you look at, yes, it is next to an existing current metro station, the Life Pharmacy metro station, and as per their promise, they are going to connect directly connect Life Pharmacy metro station to the project. So you are going to be able to directly walk into the metro station. It's located close to Expo City, but I mean, if you look at the immediate vicinity, right next to it, you have the industrial area, Jebel Ali industrial area. The fact that it's close to Expo City, it's a huge advantage. It's 15 minutes away from Dubai Marina, then 10 minutes away from Palm Jebel Ali. Palm Jebel Ali is of course a bit of a long-term thing. So we are looking a bit long-term here. This is not necessarily a short-term investment. It's close to the Maktoum International Airport. Basically, it's located in Dubai South, which is going to generate 35% of the GDP of Dubai, right? That is where it's located. Now, why is that important? Because a lot of such people that this project targets, they are going to be living in and around this location, Expo City. Right? There's going to be a lot of events happening there where these kind of people are going to be interested in. So that is the kind of crowd that Raw district is trying to capture and attract, because keep in mind, Raw has offices as well, right? So that's something that we need to understand. Then let's understand a few other things. Okay, look at this. The hours in between. Some days start with a call before coffee, others end somewhere you didn't expect. So this is not explaining the traditional conventional type of employee, 9 to 5 employee. This is again completely focusing on someone totally different, right? Here again, nothing in Raw exists to compete a standard amenity checklist. They are again reiterating the fact that this is not a standard apartment that you would see. You cannot even compare this with another apartment by Imtiaz themselves. This is completely different and unique. You can understand this when you go through this. The gallery featuring founder of Imtiaz, his art collection, right? This is a concept that is implemented in Soho House. Every single Soho House have their own art gallery, inspired and designed by respective local artists in those respective locations, right? That is the kind of thing that Raw is trying to do here. You have a logistics hub to receive items. You have a gym, probably a members only gym. Yep, of course, members focused facility, right? You have Raw Stay, which is serviced apartments owned and operated by Imtiaz themselves. You have a coffee club, 6 a.m. coffee club, the design lab, a 3D print lab and creative zone, studio for podcast, photography, media. You have a communal table. You have basically dedicated floors for leasing and co-working spaces, and a few other amenities that are mentioned here. So all this is basically, it's trying to create a completely different vibe, and it is catering to a completely different audience: creators, freelancers, and remote workers. And look at this. This is what I explained. Same world, different doors. You're already planning the next move before this one is finished. New city, new room full of people you haven't met yet. So what they are targeting is people, digital creators, entrepreneurs that relocate. For example, I gave you an example of someone renting out an Airbnb in Dubai Marina, right? That kind of people, because that is a growing population in Dubai. Dubai is a place that digital nomads, entrepreneurs, freelancers choose to come work, because there is entertainment, leisure, and everything here, right? So that is the kind of people that this project is targeting. The problem those people face, as I said with the Dubai Marina example earlier, is you don't get to meet like-minded people. You move to a completely new city and you have to start from zero, right? Look at this. In most places, that means starting from zero. In Raw, you start from inside. So that is what they are trying to achieve here, right? So this again and again, it shows that this is something completely different to a random, regular grade A apartment project by Imtiaz. And they have given a sketch of how it's going to look like. There is offices, this is a retail, this is offices, and these are apartments directly connected to the metro station. So they have given a render to understand how it's going to look like. These are going to be fully furnished. Look at the furnish and interiors. Everything is very different to a conventional apartment. It's very unique in terms of the color themes, the art, and everything. So yep, that's what they are trying to achieve. So a bit about Imtiaz also. Just if you haven't heard of Imtiaz was founded in 1993. Although Imtiaz Developers, they were launched around 2017, 2016. However, they have been in business since 1993 as contractors with over 10 billion of a portfolio, 40 plus projects, 2000 plus delivered units, and so on. They have created a pretty big name for themselves in Dubai real estate, and now they're entering a totally different domain. This is an opportunity for a long-term investor, because if you have been following the real estate market for some time, if you ever recall the beginnings of Imtiaz, they came up with very flexible payment plans, because they were a new developer when they started residential back in 2016, 2017, right? Although they have been in construction for a long time, as a developer they were new. So they came up with very flexible payment plans, good prices and everything. And not many people were fortunate enough to capture that early mover advantage. But the few of those investors who did, they made phenomenally great returns with this developer. And here Imtiaz is presenting a second chance, second opportunity for those who missed at the beginning, because this is a completely different concept. This is not just an apartment project that Imtiaz is trying to launch, right? Let's try to picture this 6 to 7 years down the line, once this project is completed and once people start living there, work there, both long-term and short-term. There's going to be creators, entrepreneurs living and working there, right? And they are going to create content. They're going to share those content, and the project will start gaining visibility. And that visibility would lead to more demand. More entrepreneurs will move in. With entrepreneurs, businesses also move in. There is retail space as well. Then offices become active, and the community becomes even more stronger. By that time, there's going to be a few more raw concepts, probably across Dubai, and maybe in London and Miami, because let's look at something that I forgot to mention earlier. Look at this: Dubai, London, Miami, Madrid, coming soon, right? So there's going to be a few more in Dubai. There's going to be in London, Miami, Madrid. They have given a hint in their own brochure that they are going to be going big with this concept, right? So that is going to create more visibility. That's going to create a better community spirit. It's going to be a cycle. More people want to live there. Demand further increases. The rent further increases because of the demand, and the property value increases, right? And if you are an investor looking at this, then the opportunity for you is that you get to invest at a very early stage into a new concept by a successful developer who is into real estate, who knows what they are doing. So they are definitely capable of delivering something like this as well. Now, if you were to talk about the different types of units available and which units you should be investing if you are an investor. If you are a creator watching this, and if you are looking for a space for yourself, then of course it is your preference what you want. It's a studio, 1-2 bed, or an office space. But if you're an investor looking, then a few things to consider. Number one is the payment plan. Beautiful payment plan, 50-50, 50% during construction and 50% on handover. That's a nice payment plan. Or if you go for post handover, then you get 60-40. However, the prices would be slightly higher with post handover payment plan. If you're looking for an investment, my personal preference would be a 1-bed suite. That would be my first preference. Then I would go for a studio. That would be my second preference. Then I would go for a 1-bed. That would be my third preference. This is what I would prefer when it comes to residential. More importantly, I would like to invest in an office space. Look at the price, 1.2 million upwards. That is the starting price for an office space. Sizes are decent, 700 square foot of a size, right? Because we already saw the concept. There is going to be offices and residential. Offices are going to give you higher yields, much higher yields compared to residential apartments. I will explain this when we understand the numbers. Now here, why did I choose one bed suites? It's basically a one bed. You have a separate room and it's compact, so it's slightly smaller. For a creator, for someone wanting to live, they would not necessarily want to maintain a bigger space, right? So a compact one bed would be a good choice. The next option would be studio, because you don't have to spend much, you can spend less. And I mean, if you are on your own, then you would be more than happy living in a studio as well, right? And then comes the rest of the options. Now let's understand the yields with studios and one beds. For example, a studio at 649, 650k, you are going to be easily renting out this at an annual rental of 70k. That's over 10% of an ROI. With one bed suites, we are looking at around between 9 to 10% of an ROI again. So ROI wise, I believe studios are going to yield higher compared to one beds. Now the ROI of an office, there is no exact comparison to understand. However, I'm going to show you a few screenshots of listed rental values for office corporate spaces so that you can get a sense of what you are going to expect in a location, in a project like this. Look at this. This is an office in Ibn Battuta Gate, close to Jebel Ali. The sizes are 1070, almost 1000 square foot. Look at the listed rental, 239,000. That is what it is listed at. Even if you minus a few, like what, 5-10% of this, the actual amount that this is going to be rented at is around 200,000 plus, right? And this is in JLT, slightly better location, 310,000, right? Here again in Jebel Ali Free Zone, in Jebel Ali, you have again 318,000. 1000 square foot of an office space, right? Again in JLT, 250,000. So this kind of yields, say 200,000 of an income. Let's be very conservative. 200,000 of a rental income divided by 1.3 million. That's over 15% of a rental ROI that we are looking at, right? That is what you could achieve with an office, and office spaces are very much capable of yielding that return for you, because forget about this concept or anything. Generally speaking, there is a significant undersupply of grade A office spaces in Dubai as a whole, and particularly Dubai South, given that it's going to be home, it's going to be contributing to 35% of the GDP of Dubai as part of Vision 2040. There's going to be 1 million of people living in Dubai South. There's going to be a huge demand for grade A office spaces, and Imtiaz again is very much capable of delivering such office spaces. And it's not only about the office spaces. Why do you think people are willing to pay, corporates are willing to pay 300,000 on a 1000 square foot office? It's not just the office spaces, it is the whole set of amenities that comes along with that office. For example, if it's Jebel Ali Free Zone, it is the biggest free zone in the region with all the amenities that it gets. And this project that we are talking, it's right in front of the Jebel Ali Free Zone, right? And given all the amenities that the project itself is offering, right? 200,000 of a rental on an office space, which is worth around 1.3 million, is something very practically achievable given these numbers, right? So I believe office spaces would be your number one investment if you choose from all. From apartments, I believe one beds and studios would be good investments. One bed suites and studios would be good investments. Who should be investing in this project? Well, if you are having a bit of a long-term vision, because this is definitely not something that you can make money out of in 2 years. You will have to wait for some time, right? Best is if you could wait for a few years, even after handover. If you could rent it out, that is where you're gonna maximize the gains out of this investment, because that 50% at handover you can mortgage, so you don't have to pay it out of your pocket. Assume you own an office space and you mortgage that 50%, you are still going to make around 8-9% of a rental yield, right? That's crazy. That number is very big. That's a bit about this project, this developer, this development. I hope I was able to convey as much value as possible through this video. If you are interested to explore more and understand about this project, feel free to reach out to me. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, Please do me a favor and do subscribe to my channel. That will give me a bit of an inspiration to create more and more valuable content just like this that can benefit not only you but people just like you, curious to understand what's happening in Dubai real estate. Having that being said, signing off until next time.